I remember one time someone asked me to describe my job as a sports videographer in only one sentence. And with no hesitation whatsoever, my answer was, hey guys, it's been a very long minute since my last video. Let me show you why. Ta-da! Build a brand new set. Well, I didn't build it. I just put a few things together. I'll try to make it a bit more personal, which is why there's a bit of my videography gear in there. There's also a few books and my sneakers because I like sneakers, especially my custom ones. The other thing that kept me quite busy is the fact that up until yesterday I was working on a project for the Socceroos, Australia's national team in soccer. I was producing this studio show here in Australia while the team is in Kuwait playing 4 World Cup qualifying games. So we were breaking down the games, doing interviews with players live in camp. It was a very complex project. I learned a lot. I didn't sleep much, but overall it was a lot of fun. But today is not about fun. Today is about the other side of sports videography. The little things that sometimes make you second guess your career choice. Because don't get me wrong, I love my job, but there are parts that people don't really talk about, especially on camera, that can really be annoying. Especially considering that most people get into sports videography thinking that they'll be hanging out with famous athletes and producing all these cool videos that are all like epic hype reels and things like that. So yeah, there is another side to that job. So without further ado, let's go through the 3 worst things about sports videography. The first one, and arguably the worst one, is those crazy deadlines that we always have to deal with. I remember when I was in school learning video production, I always used to think that the deadlines that my teachers would put on our video projects were just insane. That we never had the time to really do what we were capable of doing, especially considering all the other exams and my part-time job at the time and all these other things going on. I just thought, like, I can't wait to be doing this full-time so I can truly dedicate myself to the task and do a great job. And then I did go full-time, and obviously at the beginning of my career I was working for much smaller organizations with less resources, less people, so I had a lot to do by myself, and again I felt like I never had enough time and enough resources to do a great job. And I remember thinking, I can't wait to work for a proper organization so I can truly dedicate myself to a task and really bring it to the level that I know I'm capable of. And one day I got a job with the Montreal Canadiens, the most successful team in NHL history. And guess what? Those crazy deadlines, they only got crazier. Because in sports, it's all about the present. When something great happens, you gotta make the most of it right here, right now. Because soon something else will happen that will make this moment completely obsolete. And you can't really prepare that much either, because there's no way to predict the story. You don't know who's gonna win, you don't know who's gonna score, and you don't know who's gonna have a breakthrough performance. So basically my point is, get used to working long days and even on weekends, because like for example, last night I was still editing at 4:30 a.m. So yeah, those crazy deadlines, they ain't going nowhere. I remember one time someone asked me to describe my job as a sports videographer in only one sentence. And with no hesitation whatsoever, my answer was only 4 words: hurry up and wait. That's an expression that comes from the military that also applies very well to the filming side of sports videography. For example, I remember when I was still working for the Canadiens, if I was shooting something with a player after a training session, I would have to be there ready to go at least 15-20 minutes before the end of that training. because sometimes trainings can finish a bit early and players can be quite quick to just get changed and leave, and actually sometimes they do that on purpose because they don't want to be on camera, so they get out super quick in the hope that you're not there yet so that they can say, hey, you wasn't there so I left. And if that happens, it's definitely on you. And even if you're there but you're not ready, that's not really an option that you want to take either. So you show up early, you're there while they're still on the ice, so you know you're not going to get in trouble, you're not going to miss anyone. But 9 times out of 10, the player is not early. It's quite the opposite, actually. The player is late because either the training went a bit longer or the coach called a meeting afterwards, or again, the player doesn't really want to do it, so he's taking his sweet ass time in the showers, in the players' lounge, just, doing whatever he does on his phone, talking with his buddies. And meanwhile, you're there waiting and waiting and waiting, and you end up waiting sometimes up to 2 hours just to do a 5-minute piece to camera. So yeah, hurry up and wait. The third thing you should be aware of, especially if you plan to work for a sports team as a full-time videographer, is that the workload is not as much about filming games and producing super creative hype reels as it is about producing content for the corporate and sales and marketing team. So what does that mean? It means you'll be covering a lot of fundraising events, for example. Also, you'll be doing a lot of community stuff like hospital visits and charity work that the players are involved in. You'll also be filming a lot of players endorsing various products. And these videos, let's be honest, tend to be quite boring to do and to watch. But the good news is that storytelling has really blown up in the last few years when it comes to sports videography. A lot of teams are now internally producing weekly vlogs and documentaries, and this is the type of thing that as a videographer you'd be highly involved in. So I do believe that if you're a sports videographer in 2021, you'll be doing a lot more creative work than I was doing when I was working for the Canadiens 10 years ago. Because back then, that was one of the reasons why I decided to go the freelance route, so that I could remove myself from the boring day-to-day stuff and concentrate on the big picture, much more creative type of projects.
You're filming something else for us, huh?
If you want a better idea of what I'm talking about, or if you simply want to follow me at work while I'm on a shoot with NBA players to see what it's like, I encourage you to click on the video on your screen right now so that you can see for yourself if sports videography really is for you.